Hello and welcome to Oklahoma On Stage, the podcast where we spotlight the immense world of Oklahoma theater. We are excited to have you with us. Whether you are a first-time visitor or a loyal follower, all are welcome here. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and visit our website at oklahomaonstage.org where you can find our past episodes, sign up for our monthly newsletter, and view our calendar of events going on around the state. If you'd like to reach out to us with any comments or questions, you can reach us at oklahomaonstage@gmail.com or use the comment form on our website. Now grab your favorite drink and take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Oklahoma on stage, the stories come alive. With drama, dance, and music, the arts always thrive. From center stage to backstage lore, Oklahoma on stage, there's always something more.
Welcome back, everybody, to Oklahoma On Stage, your go-to podcast for all things theater in the great state of Oklahoma. Today's guest is a force in motion. On stage, backstage, everywhere the spotlight dares to wander. Actor, stage manager, creative collaborator, she is shaping Oklahoma's theater scene one cue at a time. We see her bring characters to life, and now she's helping bring productions together, from Storyteller Theater to Carpenter Square to her current role with Hidden Gem Entertainment, where the mission is as ambitious as she is, to showcase local talent and make space for the new stories. So we're going to dig into how she got here, what drives her work, and where she wants it all to lead. From performance to production, dreams to deadlines, this conversation is to be packed with the kind of insight you could only get from someone who's doing it all. So grab a seat, your favorite drink. We're raising the curtain on the journey that's just beginning. Please welcome to Oklahoma On Stage, Miss... Okay, we're going to have to... I should have covered this before we went on the air. Say your name for me.
It's Jannie Anifowose.
Anifowose. See, I never knew actually how to say your last name, but we never actually addressed your last name. So welcome, Jay, to the show.
Well, thank you, Tim, for that wonderful introduction. Don't feel bad. I've had this last name forever, and no one can say it.
There you go. There you go. So we always like to just start off with the elephant in the room. How did you get started in theater?
Oh, gosh. So we're going to have to go all the way back to 8th grade in middle school. I don't know how, but I got roped into being backstage crew for Music Man. And I knew I wasn't going to get on stage and sing. So I said, hey. They said, hey, you want to stand here and you're going to pull the curtain. You're going to help hand the actors props. I said, okay, I can do that. And that was my first introduction to theater.
So that was like last year, right?
You know, I wouldn't mind if it was last year, but no, I'm not going to tell you how many years ago it was, though.
So what was your first performance?
So my first performance was 9th grade. I was attending Southeast High School, and I was Puck in Midsummer Night's Dream.
Okay, very nice. So talking about that being your first production, were there any other productions or, say, mentors early on that helped shape your approach to theater?
Well, actually, I got into tech theater and drama club because of softball. So I was a softball player. And if you know softball, you have a fall season and you have a spring season. And I wanted something to do after fall season ended. I like to be outdoors. And with the Oklahoma weather, you're kind of indoors most of the winter. So I just signed up for tech theater and drama and been hooked ever since.
That's usually how it goes. The bum bikes, and there you are. So what was the moment that you knew that this was your path?
I would say tech. I was actually working tech. I wasn't on stage in a play. I was actually working tech for Beggar's Opera. And it was getting ready to go to competition, and I was sitting next to the light board operator, and he was showing me how to work the lights. And I was just like, I love this. I actually love doing this because you're looking up on stage and you're seeing what you're pressing the buttons and you're seeing it light up on stage. And you're like, wow, I'm doing that. I'm making that happen. And yeah, that's how my tech love was born.
How the magic happens. It is pretty neat being a techie myself. It is pretty neat just to kind of see what goes on behind the scenes and how it affects the stage. So, but now you've kind of been on both sides of it. And so you've seen a little bit of both of those. We talked a little bit about in the intro that you wear a lot of hats lately. So what's been your favorite challenge as of late?
I would say being assistant director at Carpenter Square Theater for She Kills Monsters. That, I've kind of had the director bug under me for about 2 years now. And so my way in the door was becoming assistant manager, working with Isaiah Williams. He's pretty well known in the community. I kind of bugged him a little bit, honestly. I was like, hey, Isaiah, you're directing this play. You're awesome. We're going to become best friends. So I told him, you got a new best friend, whether you know it or not. So that definitely has been a challenge. It's a large cast, pretty talented cast. And just learning the ropes hands-on, honestly. A lot of people that come into this have degrees or they went to school for it. So I'm learning the old-fashioned way, hands-on.
I like it. I think that's probably, to me, I think that's the best way because you can go and get a degree, but unless you're on stage or backstage doing it, I don't think you're ever going to really understand fully what this is all about. So, okay. So, you talked about first being a stage manager, then being an assistant director. So talk about those experiences, those transition from being on stage to being a stage manager and then being an assistant director.
Well, to group that along, I get a lot of people that will ask me the question, do you prefer to be on stage or backstage? That is a hard question to answer, believe it or not. I think it depends on the show. If there's a role that I really, really want, then I'll audition for it. If it's a role that I know I can't devote a lot of time to, or I want to work more of the tech side of it, then I'll offer to stage manage. I'm not very good at musicals. So I kind of move away from musicals. That's not my forte per se. But working on stage and backstage has given me a different perspective of theater. It has given me a bigger respect for techies and for tech crew, a better understanding of how theater actually works, because a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of moving pieces to theater. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind stage that the audience should not know about it if your stage manager is on their game. And then just a lot of stuff that happens that people just, don't realize happens and, takes a lot of effort and a lot of work to put a production on. A lot of weeks of rehearsal, a lot of just things going on and everything. But I don't know. I'm kind of just torn a little bit. I think I lean more towards the tech side of theater. And I think that's because I can be more hands-on and you can kind of bring things to life a little bit versus being an actor. So being an actor, you're bringing your character to life. But when you're actually working on the set, you're working behind the scenes, you're actually physically bringing the show to life. So yeah, there's things to love from both sides.
I like to call it, you're as a director or technical director or whatever, you're offering the actors the coloring book to let them paint. So it's kind of a neat idea. So how did your experience at Carpenter Square, we're talking about all that, how did that influence your growth as either an actor or a director?
I do have to give Carpenter Square Theater credit. So I had not been in a play since high school. And I just, for some reason, I signed up for the email list and I got an audition notice for Kodachrome that Tom Crowley was directing. And I'm like, well, I had nothing to lose. I'll go audition. And Tom gave me the part. And so that's how I got back into theater. And then I just wasn't done. I started volunteering, whether it was ushering at the other shows, helping to take down sets, put up costumes, things like that. Anything I can do to kind of hang around, learn more about theater and be involved, I was doing it. So Carpenter Square Theater has given me a lot of that hands-on education, per se. They've been wonderful to work for. I've stage managed for them, backstage crew, now assistant directing. So I've kind of been involved in all aspects of theater with Carpenter.
Big shout out to Carpenter Square for being that learning environment for so many people, both on stage, backstage, all of that. So you and I, we worked together during Julius Caesar not too long ago. You played a very crucial role in the story, and I saw firsthand how you got to navigate that character, got to work with you on that. So what was that process like from your perspective?
Well, I was a little bit nervous to go audition for Storyteller, but I had heard a lot of great things about Storyteller. Saw the audition notice for Julius Caesar, and why not? I'll just go down there and try it. That's where I actually met Brenna. I hadn't met Justice yet, and they made me feel so comfortable, and they were very welcoming. Casca was a bit of a challenge for me. Number one, it was Shakespeare. That was only the second time that I had been in a play, Shakespearean play. Shakespeare and I do not get along very well. Shakespeare is hard to, well, for me as actor, Shakespeare is hard to learn. And I feel like I don't really get those lines down until the show's ready to open. And then it's just like, almost like poetry just running through your mind. And it's like, oh, this wasn't that hard. This stuff I'm walking around in the kitchen cooking, just reciting Shakespeare all day. And my kids are ready to put me out of the house. Yeah, it was definitely challenging. I would say it was an adapted script, because I don't know how to say it was adapted. So it wasn't necessarily the traditional Shakespearean. It was adapted to fit the 70s. It was more political in nature. So that was a bit of a challenge as well. But it was a lot of fun. I will say that. It was, I got to be a conspirator. I got a weapon. I got to be...
Anytime you give an actor a gun, it makes their day. So okay, good. Like I said, that was a lot of fun for me. Similar situation. I'm not Shakespearean either, so it was very much a challenge for me being assistant director, but be able to work with all of the actors and developing those characters in a whole different setting than what they were normally used to seeing. So that was great. So, okay, let's transition just a little bit. We've talked about your acting and a little bit of stuff. So we talked about you're starting to take on this management and directing style. What sparked that shift?
I would say wanting to make my own decisions. Kind of not necessarily having disagreements with the director, but just having a different vision for my character. I think it started with just little scene changes. Like I wanted to add some pieces to my character. I just felt things needed to be a little bit different to develop my character. And as an actor, it's kind of a fine line. So you always want to be respectful of your director, their vision, and their vision for your character, but you also want to speak up for your character because you have to represent this character, and the audience is going to be looking at what you're doing. So you got to kind of mesh all that together and make it be cohesive. And so I just kept thinking to myself, man, I really wish I could do things my way. And what better way to do that than to just direct your own show?
Makes sense. So how does your experience as an actor help you to transition into, how does that help you to be a better director, would you say?
Oh, I'm still working on that question.
I think we all are.
Oh.
It's an ongoing process. So.
Oh yeah. So definitely I would say working backstage and being on stage and kind of knowing what the audience is going to expect out of you will help you on the path to learning how to be a director. And then being on the director side of it, you're kind of seeing it from the audience viewpoint, almost more so than the actor's viewpoint. Because, sitting out in the audience as a director, you're seeing the lights, you're hearing the sounds, you're watching the actor come in. But as an actor, you're looking at it from a reverse lens almost. So you got to kind of play those two parts together and figure out, do you want to be more of a director, or do you want to be a director-actor in the sense of, I'm more focused on how the actor is going to bring this character to life, or I want the audience to really see the scenery come to life, this lighting come to life. And I've worked with directors that I've seen the difference. I've seen some directors that are more focused on blocking and costuming and scenery, and then I've worked with some directors that are more into the actors and the characters and character development. So I've seen both of those point of view. I think for me, lighting is very important. I'm pretty big on lighting, and I'm also big on the little things in the scenes. Like, the movements, and can we bring out more emotions in that character, and what can we bring out of that line that's going to really tie the audience to the story.
And it's always a great way when you talk about that, how telling the story, but how can you connect the audience with what you're doing? And so I think that's very great. So, what's been the most surprising challenge for you stepping into the leadership roles?
Okay, so it's definitely the technical side of it. Learning how to operate lights and sound. Number one, each theater is different. I kind of learned that. So I think I've had to learn 3 lighting systems within the past year. Thankfully, just one sound system. If any of y'all listening are familiar with QLab, QLab is either your friend or it's not your friend. I'm just going to leave it at that.
And unfortunately, it seems to be like the industry standard. I don't understand. So, okay, so you are currently working with Hidden Gem Entertainment. What's your role there?
So right now we are running Midsummer Night's Dream, and I am playing Hippolyta and Fairy.
Okay, so how did that opportunity come about?
Honestly, I'm signed up for a lot of theater groups through Facebook and a lot of mailing lists. That's how I get a lot of the audition notices. And I just saw the notice for Midsummer Night's Dream, and I started feeling really nostalgic. And I was like, maybe I can get Puck again. But I landed Hippolyta, which is really awesome role. If you haven't read it before, she's Queen of the Amazons, and she's getting married, and it's whimsical. It's fun.
Good. Seems like you're having a good time.
Oh yes, I am. Hidden Gem is really awesome.
So have you found any working differences between, say, a newer company like Hidden Gem as opposed to a more established theater like Carpenter Square?
Yes. So every theater company I'm finding out is different. They're different in the audiences that they attract. They're different in marketing, advertising, the kind of plays that they want to put on. That's the biggest difference that I've come across. So Hidden Gem, they're pretty new. I think they've only been around for maybe about 2 years.
Yeah, it's a couple of years, I think.
They like to do, I think, more of the classics, family-friendly, whimsical, fun, things like that. Carpenter does a mix. Everything from historical to modern. And then Storyteller, they like to do a lot of the classics as well. I've also worked at Third Act as a stage manager, and they're kind of a mix as well. I don't think they do a lot of the older shows. They're kind of a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more of the challenging shows that you might not see at some of the other theaters.
Yeah, I was looking at Third Act's upcoming season, and I didn't recognize any of the shows, but they sounded great. So I was like, okay, well, I'll check those out. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I think every theater is different, and with what they present and the reason why they present it. So I think that's a lot. So looking toward what you currently got going on and moving forward. So what is something that is, I love this question. I saw it when I put it down. I was like, what is lighting you up creatively right now?
Of course, you would have to ask a hard question.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't get out of here easy.
I would say right now my driving force is wanting to stay active in theater. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. So I think the best way to explain it is sometimes when a production is getting ready to close, despite having spent weeks, sometimes months on some of these productions, you're exhausted, you're worn out, you kind of just want to go home and just sleep. The back of your mind is, when's the next audition? When's the next show? So it's like you want a break, but you want to keep it going because I think it gets addicting. So you audition, you get a role, you're like, man, oh, I got that role. That's awesome. When's the next one?
Yeah.
When's the next one? So sometimes it is kind of hard to stop. This year was very surprising for me. I had not done so many productions in my life back to back. I think I'm on number 4 right now.
I get it. I think we talk about a lot. We talk about the theater bug and when it bites, and everybody handles it differently. But it seems like everybody that I've talked to on this show, once they get in, especially even like the last year, they've always been one right after another for a period of time. And I've got friends that, right now are kind of deciding to take a break because of that, I've got a couple of people that I've acted with that are currently not doing anything because of that. I've got them the same way. I think I've been going back to back, almost back to back for about a year. So I think it's,
Wow.
and now I've decided to add this because I wasn't busy enough. So, but hey, it's all about love. I got much love for the theater. So are there any upcoming productions or collaborations that you're excited about?
I have some auditions in the work, so I have not been casted as of now. Hoping that'll come through here pretty soon. Goal is I want to direct something later this fall. If not this fall, then in spring. So I think my spring direction is going to be more towards directing. And I also want to work on building up my tech skills, working more with some of the lighting systems and making myself available in that kind of way. Because I've learned that with a lot of theater companies, if you don't know what Tech Week is, just it's a lot.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, Tech Week can be pretty daunting for backstage as well as on stage. So.
Oh yeah, Tech Week is a lot, and I don't like learning new systems the week of, and that's kind of been the trend for the last few times that I've had to operate lights and sound. And so I just want to kind of better prepare myself. That way, if I am in that position, it's not a scramble a few days before opening, trying to figure out how to work a new lighting system.
Good idea. So talking about directing, what kind of stories do you want to help tell as a director in theater?
I definitely want to bring more African American authors to light. So I think a lot of people assume that African American authors only write about struggle, that that's the only thing they write about, that's the only thing they want to present, and that's not true. And we have a lot of African American authors who write in different genres: science fiction, fantasy, true stories, crime stories. I mean, you name it. And I want to dig for that obscure play. I want to dig for that play that either hasn't been done a lot or someone's never heard of, and see how I can put my own spin on it on stage.
You ever thought about writing your own?
I've thought about it. but I think that's going to be a project that's probably going to take me a while. Because actually, when it comes to literature, I'm big on Gothic literature. Yeah, so I'm a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan. So I'm trying to keep myself from just wanting to do murder mysteries and things like that.
Sure.
And expanding into different genres. So I'm not sure what I would write about, honestly.
It's always good if you have that itch, just start writing something, even if it doesn't go anywhere. So, so if you could build your dream production, okay, from scratch, talking about finding that obscure play that no one's ever done or something that you've written yourself, build it from ground up, cast, crew, story, all of it. What would it look like?
Oh no. I definitely like small cast. So it'd probably be a cast of no more than about 10 people. I think 10 would still be kind of large. Definitely not a musical. Not knocking on musicals, but you don't want me on stage singing. I'm just going to say that. For me, it'd probably be something historical leading into contemporary, maybe something with a time period shift. I'm not sure about the content though. I'm not sure too. That's gonna be a later. That's probably gonna be a later question. Now you got my wheels.
There you go. That's where you start stretching yourself as a director. Is finding those things. Is like you said, how can I put my spin on it? What would my spin look like? And so, and it's all going to have a bit of you in it. And so that's where you get started. So, okay, so I kind of have run out of questions at this point, but if anybody has listened to my podcast before, they know I always wrap up my show with what we are now calling the curtain call. And these are just kind of off the wall curveball questions that just kind of, and for a lot of people that I've interviewed, they say after answering all these other questions, they have nothing else to pour in here. But as we ask these questions, all we say is just first thing that comes to your mind. So when we say ask this question, just throw it out there. No matter how obscure or whatever. Sometimes, that can make people laugh. Other times make scratch their head. Hey, we're going to go with it. So, and I'll tell you, these questions, they all come from AI. So I just plug these into ChatGPT and see what happens. So I actually don't know what all these are. So, okay, first one. If theater were a meal, what dish would it be?
Chicken Alfredo.
Okay. Can you explain that?
Everybody loves chicken Alfredo, but you do get tired of it after a while.
Well, that's fair. Yeah. You can only have so much of it. So, yeah, it is that. It is that. So, what's one piece of advice you'd give your younger self before stepping on stage?
Go audition for that role. Doesn't matter what it is, just go audition for it.
So are you saying you skipped out on a few?
I did. I was pretty stage shy. But now I wish that I would have just auditioned for everything, no matter what. Even if I didn't think I'd be a good fit for the character, you never know what the director's going to see in you.
And the best way to overcome stage fright, get on stage. I agree. So what's a role you haven't played yet, but you really dream of playing?
Oh, that is a tough one. Okay.
Well, everybody's got something in their pocket that they're just like, man, I would love to play that.
I had not thought about that. Honestly, let's see. Okay. So there is a role, Intimate Apparel, and the character is Esther. And it is a historical drama, but I have fallen in love with Esther's character, and I would really, really love the chance to bring her to life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the directors that are listening, that's kind of a plug. Okay, so finish this sentence. Theater is
theater is magical.
Can you elaborate?
Oh, yes. So you're bringing stories to life. Like, it's fun. Come on. Like, have you ever read a book and you're just like, man, you're just imagining the scene in your mind, what the characters look like, what did it smell like, what did it sound like? Theater is what that is like. You're implanting yourself into the story and it's coming to life around you.
Cool. What is that? What is talking like that? What does that feel like to you?
It feels like happiness, if that makes sense. Even if it's a drama, even if it's, something like that. It's happiness. Like you're taking yourself away from technology in a sense. And you're looking at these people that have spent weeks rehearsing these lines and bringing this character to life. And then you're sitting in this seat and you're watching it. And it's happening in front of you. It's not being replayed back on the screen. You're not rewinding it on your phone. You're not pausing it. It's live. And you can't beat that. I love live theater.
I like it. So if we were talking about you like historical traumas and plays and things, so if we were talking about a play that involved your story, give me the title of it.
Oh. Be a good title. That's going to be a hard one because it's definitely going to have crazy in the title. Crazy in motion, maybe something like that. You see, I'm not very creative at the moment. Not creative on the spot.
Oh, come on now. Sure you are. Okay, so like I said, we're wrapping this up. We're utilized and eaten up all of the questions. So as we leave, what is one last piece of advice that you would give anyone just starting out on their own theatrical journey?
Have fun with it. There's gonna be a lot of fear and you're gonna be nervous. Go out there and go to that audition. I have met some wonderful people auditioning for shows I didn't think, in getting roles I didn't think I would get. And that has led to meeting some very wonderful people. Just enjoy the community that is community theater. It's community theater for a reason. And some of the people you meet are going to be your friends for life. And not just theater-wise, but outside of theater as well. And it's an awesome support group too. I mean, I walked into rehearsal one day and I remember an actor stepped away. Like, hey, I got to take this phone call. I got to see if I got this role. And they came in and their face was just lit up. And just everybody in the room just busted out clapping and laughing and just were so happy for this actor. And I'm like, that's where it is. Right there. That support, just enjoy it.
It's amazing the world you will find when you step on the stage. So, Jannie, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you being a part of this. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your insight and your journey along the way. So we look forward to seeing what is coming forward from you moving down the line. So I'm sure you and I will see each other plenty of times. So for everybody else listening at home, thank you for giving us your time and your attention for just a little bit out of your day. We hope that you've enjoyed the time here. Keep continuing to listen to the show. Keep continuing to go to all the local theater you can, and no matter what, continue to support the arts.
Oklahoma on stage.